Camo, and we wanted to create 3 short videos to help get you started tweeting during a conference, or maybe getting more comfortable with Twitter in advance of our national conference. The idea of tweeting during a conference is that it's a great way to connect with other delegates, connect with the speakers, and also show people who can't make it to conference what's happening within those 4 walls. So whether you're coming to conference and want to tweet out, or you can't make it this year and you want to see what's going on, we want to give you some tools to get started. So the first thing you're going to need is a Twitter account. So you're going to visit, and really easy, you're going to sign up right here on the screen, and then you're going to be getting started. You're going to have to choose a Twitter handle. So here you can see mine is @KateCamoRD, is a way that people can communicate and connect with one another. So it's a way to indicate who you're talking to or who you're talking about. So having a title, a Twitter handle that includes RD, is something that we're seeing a lot of professionals, a lot of dietitians using to indicate that they're a registered dietitian. You might also use PDT, professional dietitian, if that's the designation in your province, or you might use DTP, diététiste professionnelle, if that's what the title you use. You'll also create a bio. So I have 2 examples for you. One is Shannon Crocker, who's a dietitian in Toronto. You'll see very short, and the reason is that everything on Twitter is about being brief and short. So your bio has to be under 140 characters. Your tweets need to be under 140 characters. So here's another example that you might look at for how to write a short bio. You can see this is Adam Bryant, RD. He's a dietitian in Hamilton, Ontario. He writes, registered dietitian specializing in bariatric surgery, truthful, empathetic, skeptic at heart, won't join your food club, but happy to discuss. So you'll see sometimes that people's Twitter bios are a little bit witty. Go ahead and do that and let people know a little bit more about your personality. If you're just getting started and you want to write dietitian in Hamilton, Ontario, that's totally fine too, and a great way to get started. So now that you have your Twitter handle and your bio all set up, the next thing to do is to send out some tweets. So you'll see here, this is my Twitter page, and we'll talk in other videos about different ways you can tweet out, different platforms, technologies, but very simple, use the Twitter page. You log in, you'll see right here, this is the box where I write my tweet. So, the anatomy of a tweet. I might write @Shan Crocker, so I'm talking to Shannon Crocker, and I might say, I'm tweeting for the first time. #DCConf15. So what's going on here? We see I'm talking to Shannon Crocker. Now, don't forget, everybody is seeing my Twitter account here. Everyone is seeing the tweets that I'm sending. So I'm talking to her, but everybody sees it. And I say I'm tweeting for the first time, and then I add the hashtag, and you're going to add this hashtag to every single tweet that you tweet out during the Dietitians of Canada conference. The idea here is that you're tagging or indicating to Twitter, group this with all the other tweets about Dietitians of Canada's conference so that someone can follow the conversation of conference and see all the different tweets. Another thing you're going to see at conference is like this tweet right here from Melissa. She writes, vilifying nutrients does not lead to improvement in nutrition. It's in quotations, and then she writes an M-, Dr. Murray. What she's doing there is saying that this is something that Dr. Murray said. So obviously it's in quotations, but it's a really important professional consideration to keep in mind during conference, that as much as possible to use this format that Melissa has used. She's indicated that it's Dr. Murray who's up on stage, and that's going to help your readers understand, everyone looking at your Twitter, that it's not your thought, it's that you watched someone else give that thought. And so tweet, you see Dr. Murray, and then you see here she's at the DGA Summit, so that's another conference. So that's the tweet. You can also do 2 things. You can add a URL, so you can see in this tweet here from the WHO that they've added a URL to be able to link to the recordings of a conference. So you might link to a resource that you enjoy, you might link to an article. And so that's a way to enhance your tweet. You can also add a photo. So if you click add a photo, it'll go to your desktop or your hard drive, and you can upload a photo. If you're on your phone, it will go to your photo library, or you can take a photo and post that along with your picture. So with my tweet to Shannon, I might say, Shannon, I'm tweeting for the first time, and add a selfie of me tweeting for the first time if I wanted. So the next thing you're going to want to do is learn about how you can interact and engage with others on Twitter. So I've gone out. Now I might go as tweet, and I might want to interact with Melissa. So the first thing I can do is favorite. And favorite used to be a way to bookmark a tweet for later, but it's really morphed and has become more of a like button, just like you do on Facebook probably. So it's a way of saying, I support this, I like this, I found this interesting. So that's the first thing you can do. The second thing you can do is tweet. Wow, okay, that's a really interesting thing Dr. Murray said. I just heard her say it at conference. I'm there, I heard her say it. I might retweet it so that more people will see this tweet. So when I click retweet, I can either just click retweet and send it out to my followers, or I can add a comment. So I might comment, it's true, we saw this with saturated fat. And that would be a comment on the tweet that she's made, but it's giving my personal opinion, adding on to that tweet. And so the other thing you can do is reply to a tweet. So maybe I disagree. Maybe I think that it does improve nutrition. So I might click reply, and I'll see that it will give me a box that replies to Melissa, Barb, who was the dietitian who retweeted this tweet, and the other two groups that are included, and I can write, actually, this study indicates otherwise, and add a URL. So if I feel that, I'm just giving examples, but if I feel that that's the case, that's another way that I can do it. So we've talked about a number of things in this video. We've talked about setting up your Twitter account. We've talked about writing a tweet at somebody, or we've talked about quoting a speaker. And we've talked about favoriting, which is a way of liking a tweet, retweeting, which is a way of sharing it with everybody that follows you, and replying, which is a way to respond to a tweet and add to the conversation. Bear in mind that everything you do on Twitter is going to be public. So whether you're replying, retweeting, favoriting, people will see that you're doing that. And so a very, very good rule of thumb is that this Twitter account that you're setting up is a professional Twitter account. It is separate from your personal social media, if you have one. And everything you do here, you should feel comfortable if it was published on the front page of the paper. So these are conversations that you would have out in public as a dietitian, and not a conversation that you would have between two friends privately. This is a public conversation. So no need to be afraid of that, but bear in mind that you are a professional, and get tweeting. So please watch our next two videos for more information and more details on how to live tweet during your conference.